Creating new habits can be really useful and beneficial for you, but it can also be very hard to do. And I get it. I totally get that it can be hard to do, but here's the thing. It doesn't need to be hard or complicated. Want to learn about an easy way for creating new habits? Then stay tuned, because that is what today's talk is all about. Hi everyone, this is Salik and welcome to another episode of the Growth Philosophy Podcast, a bite-sized weekly podcast focused on empowering you to think better and upgrade your life. So let's talk about habits. What is a habit exactly? A habit is something we do on a regular basis, usually without thinking. A habit is an automatic program, if you will, one we follow through and execute day in and day out without even needing to actively think about it. This includes all the big and little things you do regularly, daily. Things like brushing your teeth, taking care of your hair, having coffee, having a shower, and so on. You get the idea. Basically, anything and everything you do on a regular basis, repeatedly, is a habit. But how do they get created? How do you create habits? That's a really good thing to know about. You might be wondering about that. How are habits formed? Well, this is where our brains come in. That incredible machine that is our brain automates anything that we do if it is done repeatedly and for a long enough time. So those are the two crucial variables. Repeatedly, long enough time. And the brain creates these habits for us to make life easier. Because when you have to actively make decisions and think about something before doing it, it takes effort and willpower. Every time you have to think about doing something before you do it, you need to exercise your willpower because you have to will yourself to do it. So your willpower, it becomes an essential element of it. Without it, you can't actually execute on the thing. And willpower is a great tool. Don't get me wrong. Willpower is absolutely great and it is absolutely essential. But the thing about willpower is that it has its limits. And it gets affected by various variables like our mental state, our happiness levels, and most significantly by our energy levels. This is why it can be hard to follow through on good practices like working out on days when you are feeling unwell, tired, sad, and so on. So relying on your willpower can be problematic if the thing you want to practice is something you want or need to do on a daily basis. Because if you rely on your willpower, things might happen and you'll fall off the bandwagon. And that's actually how it happens, and that's why people struggle so much to create habits. So this is actually where habits come in. So the whole idea of practicing or needing to exercise your willpower is a challenge, and habits can shortcut that whole process. Because when you turn a practice into a habit, you don't really need to rely on actively using your willpower anymore. Which means you will follow through on your practice without really thinking about it, and that massively increases the chances of you actually doing it every day. Since you don't have to actively use your willpower or have to will yourself to do it, the whole process becomes a lot easier. Think about it like this. Do you need to really think about brushing your teeth every morning? No, you don't. You just wake up and then brush your teeth. Right? It's an automatic program for you. It happens without you needing to exercise your willpower. You don't have to sit there every morning after waking up and think, yes, I need to go brush my teeth now. You don't. You just get on and do it. You just get on with it. And that's the beauty of habits. You don't have to spend any mental energy or effort to execute your practice once it becomes a habit. You will just do it. And that's what you do for your existing habits. You just do them. And that's what makes habits such a great mental hack. That's what makes habits an incredibly useful tool. So habits are a very nifty, very useful mental hack. They make your life very easy. But why don't we do it for all the good practices we want to adopt? I mean, if habits are so great, why don't we practice it more regularly? It's mainly because creating a new habit can be challenging. It can be a challenging thing to do, mostly due to the fact that despite our best intentions, we often can't or don't stick to the practice long enough for it to become a habit. Remember what I said earlier about new habits and how they're created? The thing has to be done repeatedly for a long enough duration for it to become automated. If it isn't done repeatedly for a long enough time, it doesn't become a habit. And the thing is, it isn't always easy to do that. It isn't always easy to do the thing consistently for a long enough time. Maybe you try really hard to stick to the new practice, but then you forget or something else happens, and you miss a day or two, and then the whole thing becomes hard to keep doing. That's how it works for, well, most new habits, if not all of them. This is one of the reasons why most people struggle to keep working out on a regular basis. And this is the thing that makes creating habits a challenge. This is the main reason why people struggle to create good habits. So that's the problem. But here is the good thing, here's the good news. There is something you can do to make it easier for you to create new habits. So it's not all doom and gloom, you can do something about it. Want to know what you can do about it? Well, here it is. The easiest way I know for creating new habits. And it is to combine the practice you want to create into a habit with an existing habit. So you combine them together. When you do that, when you combine the existing habit with a new one, you are using the existing habit as a trigger for the new habit, which makes it vastly easier to keep doing, as you don't really need to think about doing it. So it becomes an automatic reminder for you. I touched on this concept in the episode on mindful toothbrushing. There I talked about how combining toothbrushing with mindfulness can make it easy to create a mindfulness habit. And that is a great example of how you can create a new habit easily by attaching it to an existing habit. The principle extends to other habits too, of course. Right? It's not just for mindfulness. It extends to all habits, really. Because the way the habit creation process works is pretty much universal and applies to everything you do. So you can create a habit of working out, of going for a walk or a run, of meditation, of mindfulness, of working on your own project, and so on. You can create a habit for basically anything or everything that you want. If you have been wanting to do something on a regular basis, but have found it a challenge to keep doing it consistently, now you know what you can do about it. Just make it into a habit. And you have the tool to make it easy for you. So how can you get started? I mean, now you know that habits can be a great tool to make your life easier and better, but how do you actually get started using this process, this easy habit creation process? Well, here is how. Think about the thing you have been wanting to create a habit out of. Maybe you've been wanting to create a meditation or a journaling habit, or a habit of you writing or working out every day. So once you decide on the thing that you want to turn into a habit, decide which of your existing habits you want to combine it with. Here is an example. Say you want to create a morning meditation habit. You can then combine it with your morning coffee or toothbrushing. Like in the mindfulness toothbrushing habit that I talked about. So this is how it would look like in practice. You wake up, have your morning cup of coffee, and either before making your coffee or after having your coffee, or even during having the coffee, you meditate. Do it every day for at least 4 weeks, ideally 6. And in time, it will become automated. It will become a habit. The whole meditation process will become a habit for you. So after some time, you won't really need to actively think about meditating anymore. You will just get up, have your coffee, and then meditate. That's how the sequence will work. The whole sequence will become automated in time. So you have to keep doing it consistently. But the whole idea of using an existing habit will make it easier for you to stick with it. And once meditation becomes a habit, it will become as effortless as having your coffee. So when you combine meditation with having your coffee and you do it consistently, over time, it will become as effortless as having your coffee. And this same principle applies to anything else that you want to create into a habit. Just combine the new practice with an existing habit and you will make the whole process of creating the habit, of creating the new habit, a whole lot easier. But there is a caveat to that. In the same way habits can help, the principle applies to harmful things too. This is why things like smoking can become habits. Next week I'll talk about habits that are harmful to you and how to deal with them. So tune in next Monday to learn more about that. As for today's talk, I hope you found it useful. Combining a new practice with an existing habit is an easy way to create a new habit. In fact, as far as I know, this is the easiest way to create a new habit. But if you know of an easier way, do share it. I would love to know. As it stands though, this is the easiest way by far for creating a new habit. Combining an existing habit with a new practice. And this process has the potential to have a massive impact, a massive positive impact on your life. So do give it a shot. I really hope you try it out. Let me know how it goes. But that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. As always, it has been a great pleasure having you listen in. I'll catch you again next Monday. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to learn about more ways you can improve your mind and your life, and to be the first to get updated about new episodes. Enjoy the rest of your week, and remember, think better to upgrade your life.